Okay, guys, we got this. All right. So we have entered in a lead. We've got the appointment set. Just to confirm, you guys can see what I'm showing you right now.
Hello?
Yes, we're good.
Good. Thank you. All right. So we got Christopher Vigil. We got the appointment set. We're ready to do a proposal. So you're not going to click on this section. You're going to click on this proposal piece. Okay. That's going to allow you to enter the next screen, which will allow you to put in usage data, which in this scenario, we're pretending that we don't have. Okay. We don't have the usage data. We're just going to pre-design the system. So you're going to click on the top part right here. That little dotted box menu. Just a little bit. Okay, so we got the dotted box, and you're going to click on Advanced Drawing. That's going to pull up the map. Okay, this part is being fixed as we speak. I was working on it yesterday. Legion's actually really good about it. So first step is you're going to click on the graph. This is important because you want to make sure that your lines are straight on the roof planes, okay? But it won't let you adjust it. I'm trying to rotate it right now, and it's not letting me. So you're going to click on this box right here.
Why do we want to rotate it?
You want to rotate it so you can make sure that your designs are straight.
Gotcha.
That your lines are straight, okay? So you're going to click on this one right here, and then hit the plus button, and then you're going to click on the graph one more time. Now, it will actually allow you to move it.
It's like a 3-step process for now.
Yeah, currently it's clunky, but we're working on it. Be patient with us. Okay, so we got the graph now. Next thing we're going to do is click on the angle tool. It automatically defaults to a 34-degree roof pitch, which is actually pretty standard. So you click on the angle, and you want to find the actual roof that you're drawing on. Make sure that your angle is correct.
You had to spin that around. Is that normal?
Yeah, so when you jump in there, usually it'll start you facing the house backwards. Your rear end is going to be towards the house that you're going to be designing on. I don't know why it does that, but that's what it does. So this is the actual home. We're going to hit the checkbox. You can also actually, once you're at the property, you can take a picture of the house when you're there if you're not comfortable with the angle that we have on the device. So the first thing we're going to do is zoom in a little bit. You're going to drop your little mark here on the corner of the home. You're going to put your A up there and your C over here and hit save. Accept that, and now your roof plans should be accurate. Next thing you're going to do is click on the draw tool, which looks like this. Hit the plus mark, and this is going to allow you to put dots on the property. So first thing, we don't want to draw on the north side because that's going to be a less effective, less efficient place to draw panels. We want to draw in the most efficient places, okay? So that would be right here, the southeast. We're going to drop our first dot there. We're going to drop our second dot, even though there's shading. I'm going to drop it over here, and we want to make the lines as straight or as close to the actual roof as possible. You see when you put the dots down, it will give you a magnifying glass, so you see exactly where you're putting the dots. You can be as accurate as possible. And that green line tells you that you're straight. See that? You're straight according to the graph the grid that we put up already. All right, so this part, you're actually going to label the different sections of the roof. The edge is the gutter, okay? So everybody knows the edge of the roof is always the gutter. The sides that go along the side of the home are the eaves. And the top of the house is the ridge. Once we have those set, it's going to ask if it's completely sunny. I'm going to put yes because I'm not going to put panels under where I see shading. If you do, it'll automatically adjust the shading level within the app. So once those are drawn, you're going to verify that your panels are the correct wattage. The way we do that is this arrow over here on the left, right here. Tap that, It's going to open up all these, all this information. Says your shape A, the way the roof is facing, offsets, energy production. Right now it's defaulting to 320 watt mods. It's not bad, but it's a 30-cent adder. So it's $3.85 plus 30 cents makes it $4.15 cost to the customer. You don't need the 320 watt mods. You want to change it to 280. 280 watt mods are our standard price, $3.85 a watt. Which actually the customer won't know the difference unless you tell them. So, you know, if you're designing and you need to fit the panels on onto the roof, if the roof is too small, you're going to want to use a more efficient module so that you can get closer to 100%. So in this scenario, we've adjusted our modules to the 280. We're going to hit the draw tool, and it's going to actually put panels up on the roof. Then at this point, you can actually change. So right now they're in portrait mode. You can change it to landscape if you want by tapping that. Switch it either way. And then when you hit the plus button right here, it's going to draw the panels actually on the roof. And then you'll clear out the design tool by clicking this button again, and it'll position the panels right there.
Those obstructions?
Yes. So if you have obstructions on the roof, you can click on the obstruction tool if they're round. You can click around obstruction tool. As it intersects, it's automatically going to remove the panels if you draw it on there too big. So we got that guy right there. Say there's another one right here. I don't want it to delete more panels, but can't resist it. Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
Resistance in this case is futile.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to drop that right there. Then we're going to redraw the panels so it accounts for those obstructions. Okay?
Okay, question.
Sure.
Oh, you want us to wait till the end?
Yeah, write it down, and then once I finish,
Okay.
we'll go over the questions. Okay. So now your panels are drawn. It doesn't know how much production it's going to have because we haven't inputted any usage data. So let's say we've got the design done. We feel pretty good about it. We get to the customer's house, and now we're ready to present. So this is one of the coolest pieces about this software is that you can actually take a picture of the graph. So up here, let me go back. Up here on this section, you've got a camera tool. So you click on that. It's going to open up your iPad camera, and you're going to scroll over. Oh my gosh, it is so fast. You're going to scroll over the actual graph of the usage. Like it's quick, guys. It is anxious to get that usage. Okay, so you see those numbers don't really align. You got 100%. It doesn't really tell us how many kilowatt hours. That's okay. First thing you're going to do is change it to where your months match up. So this particular bill it starts in July. It's July to July. And 100%, the maximum usage would be August, but last month, July, it says they used, let's see, kilowatt hours. It says they used 1,315 kilowatt hours. So you're going to tap where it says 85.2. This is this month's July. You're going to click the electricity button, the lightning bolt, and you're going to actually enter in 1,315 kilowatt hours. It'll automatically adjust all the rest of them. You see that? Okay, so now we have our usage. It's on point, and you see over here, based on the system size and the production, we're going to be generating 178% of the energy that this customer consumes over the course of a year. It's about 78% too much. We don't want to over-generate because the way net metering works, in most places, they're not buying energy back for a retail price. So you'd be taking advantage of your customer. They'd end up writing negative reviews. You want to design the system based on the customer's exact usage, maybe even a little bit less, because once they go solar, they're actually going to be consuming a little bit less energy, somewhere between 15 and 20% fewer kilowatt hours annually. The reason for that is because the panels up on the roof are actually essentially an exterior radiant barrier. Berkeley's done a study where they've done a heat gun underneath where panels are installed versus where they're not. There's a 40-degree difference. It's going to be a lot cooler in the attic because the way the panels are set up, you've seen the solar roof shades. So that's what's happening. You have a shade now on the exterior of your roof. They're black, so they're attracting the heat. You've got about a 3 to 6 inch gap of air that acts as a buffer. It actually helps cool the panels. And then you have your shingles or your roofing material. And then you got your attic and such. Plus, if they take advantage of the energy efficiency options, the Nest advertises that they're going to increase your energy efficiency by up to 15% alone. So the panels plus the Nest thermostat should equate to somewhere between 15 and 20% extra energy savings over the course of the year.
Not to mention LEDs will do as well.
Not to mention, LEDs, and if they do an interior radiant barrier, I mean, there's a lot they could do, but from just the solar and the Nest, it actually it's huge in assisting to reduce energy costs, energy use. So as we go back to our system design, what I would normally do at this stage is say, Mr. Customer, this is what the panels are going to look like on the exterior of your house. I hope you don't mind that they're orange. It's just a new feature. A lot of people like the color orange. Just kidding. So we're going to go in and we're going to click on our design button again. And you see how they have a bunch of minus buttons. So we can go on. There's a tree over here. So we don't want to design where there's going to be a massive shading. So the first place I'm going to reduce the panels is over where the shading is going to be. I just deleted a bunch of panels. That takes us down to 134%. We're going to continue deleting some panels, see if we can get down to 100, 114. I'm going to take them off the top so we can square it up.
Is the design of it very important? How it looks?
John just asked a question if the design is very important. It really depends on if you want to get referrals or not. If you make the solar look really stupid, it's going to be hard for the neighbors to say, hey, I want to do that to my house. So I like to make it as clean and nice looking as possible. If I can do a perfect square like this, and that makes Kevin Underwood very, very happy at the end of the day. I want to make sure the customer is fully satisfied with the system design. So satisfied, in fact, that they will bring their neighbors into their backyard to say, hey, your roof is ugly and mine looks awesome. And also, which direction does your meter spin? Because mine goes this way. It's going to go backwards after they have the solar fully functional. So once you have the update, now you see we're at 96%. It's perfect. That's going to be a 5.6 kilowatt system. It's going to generate 7,971 kilowatt hours over the course of the year.
Question for you. It will consider any sort of a city guidelines and codes for where the panels would be placed?
Yeah, so that's another thing. John just brought up city codes and guidelines. There are things called fire setbacks in certain areas. Round Rock has fire setbacks. Austin has fire setbacks. What that means is that you want to put the panels at least 3 feet away, but I have it set up to where it automatically assumes that there's fire setbacks. It's going to be 3 feet away from any ridge, 1.5 feet away from any valley. And then you can line up straight up on the gutter. So the edge of the roof is fine. Everywhere else, there's going to be some fire setbacks that need to be taken into account. You just need to check with your manager and verify what sort of fire setbacks you have in your area or what area you're designing. And every city is different. That being said, we automatically assume that there's going to need to be fire setbacks when you're designing. So Williamson County doesn't require fire setbacks. And I think Travis County, you're okay. Pflugerville might be all right. But you'd want to verify that with your local manager.
San Antonio requires it.
What were you saying?
San Antonio requires it also.
San Antonio requires fire setbacks. This video is going to be used all over the country as we expand. But yeah, so you want to check with your municipality and make sure that your manager knows how to design systems so we can set correct expectations. So now we've got our system designed exactly how we want it. Up there on the top, the next likely step would be to go to the plus button. So we click plus. This is going to allow us to put in adders. Adders would add costs to the system. For example, with a flat roof, it's going to be a 15-cent adder on a flat rolled roof. If it's a TPO roof, it's going to add 25 cents. If there's an MPU, it's going to be a $1,500 or $1,600 adder, et cetera, et cetera. You can talk with your manager about whatever else we're doing. Currently, incentives that we have and that we're offering are the Sam's Club gift card and the upfront rebate. We're not going to put those in here. The reason why is because it subtracts from the total. Again, it's not 100%. We're still working with Legion to make it exactly perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is we're not going to add any adders. We're not going to add any incentives. We're going to click on the money button right here. That's going to take you to your financing tool. So as you see,
Well, one thing I want to add, the utility company that we're selecting,
Ah.
want to cover that real quick?
John brought up an excellent point. The utility company that we're using. So up here, you've got the cog for settings. This particular utility is Encore Residential, and it's assuming that it's 11.2 cents a kilowatt hour. So once you're in the home with the customer, you're going to make sure that you have the correct utility selected and that the rate matches up. Okay, thanks, John.
There only seems to be two options.
Well, where this address is located, it's so if it was in Austin, it would show Austin Energy. If it's in San Antonio, it's going to show CPS. So yeah, it's automatically designed to populate the correct or a utility that's close to the area that you're designing. So once you have the bill, you can plug it in.
So obviously paying attention to the bottom left section of the cost per watt is that something you want to make sure that you're on point with, so you're going to actually get a really close approximation of what they're paying right now. So.
Currently, we can't adjust the cost per watt. That's something also I'm working on, especially for the deregulated territory. CPS should be fine, though. City of Austin needs an update. Okay, so we've got the design done. We don't need any adders. We're going to go to the proposal. So 5.6 kilowatts is 5,600 watts. 5,600 watts times 3.85 does not come up to 28,000. We're adjusting the default currently. You can go in and just change the price per watt. We're not going to sell it at 5 bucks. If you do, I hope that you make all the commission that you've earned on that sale. And I hope the customer doesn't cancel or talk to a competitor or talk to Sam's. Okay, so you got a price per watt at $3.85. Upfront rebate, again, we're not going to adjust those right now. We're going to have to essentially calculate those if that's something we want to offer. If you don't offer it, I do believe that we'll be able to provide you a little bit more commission. Okay, so total system cost is $21,560. See that, Mr. Customer? I just saved you $7,000 just about. How cool is that? And then we have all of our financing options loaded in here. So first step, you can see I clicked on that graph button up there. If you don't, then you can see the nice, big picture. I kind of like to compare side by side without having to scroll over. So you click on that graph and it'll show you all of the finance options. This is where you're going to talk to the customer about how much tax liability that they have, what kind of term, how long they wanted to pay for the system, if they want to just pay for it once, or if they want to pay for it for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years.
What if we're paying for cash?
If you pay cash, then you would just build a proposal based on cash. Sunlight 15 seems to be kind of our go-to right now. So you're going to build a proposal. At this point, it will require a phone number and an email address. If you had plugged that in before, it'll actually automatically populate. Currently, we're just going to plug in a dummy number and a dummy email address. And it's going to allow you to generate the proposal right here. If you plug in the customer's email or if you plug in your email address there, it's going to send it. I don't recommend that you send the customer the proposal at this stage. You do have the option to send it once you've gone over it, as you can see by the send button right here. If you tap that, you're able to text it, mail it, whatever you want, okay? So it'll populate. It's going to say the customer's name, energy consultant's name, your phone number. First off, it's going to start out and show you the system design. This, Mr. Customer, is what the panels will look like on your house. So we do have the option. You can go with the black or the very flashy orange. I recommend the black. But it is going on the back of your house, so it's totally up to you. 20 panels, and that's a 5.6 kilowatt system. The way that math works out is, since we're using 280 watt mods, it's going to be 280 times 20 equals 5,600 watts, or 5.6 kilowatts. So a lot of customers will come up with a question, well, you just showed me that my system's going to be generating 7,900 kilowatt hours over the course of the year. How come I'm only generating 5.6 kilowatt hours? Well, Mr. Customer, this is probably the most confusing thing about solar. Kilowatts aren't kilowatt hours. We're talking about size of a system versus output of a system. So if we're relating it to a car, a 200 horsepower motor doesn't necessarily go 200 miles per hour. It's going to depend on the weight, the road conditions, weather, things like that. So the same thing goes with the solar. It's a 5.6 kilowatt system that's rated based on the 280 watt panels that we're putting all over your roof. Its output is going to actually be determined by where the panels are located, the angle, which is why we went through all of that activity. But suffice it to say, we do guarantee the system's production. Currently, for some reason, it's not populating that correctly, so that's why I only went down to here. Estimated annual production, just like we went over, is going to be 7,900 kilowatt hours over the course of the year. So we're getting that. Mute yourself, please, unless you have a specific question. So we're going to be generating 96% of our electricity over the course of the year. And for that, the cost of energy, it has a little tool here. Monthly average is monthly average for the first year. Number 2, cost of energy is the average over the next 25 years. That's assuming that your annual inflation, the utility rate will increase by 5% per year. So annual average, you're without solar, you're spending about $1,015. With solar, your utility cost would figure about $245, assuming you have a minimum base charge. The savings looks like it's going to be $769. This part I'm adjusting, but you can actually go in, change the annual utility inflation rate. If they think it's going to go up by 13%, you can make that adjustment. Right now, it defaults to 5%. Okay. Close enough.
We also have that tool.
I also don't recommend you go through the amortization schedule with the customer right up front. So typically what I would do is say, hey, so this is what we're looking at. This is what you're paying. This is what it looks like you will pay with solar. Skip. Customer, the cost of the system is going to be $21,560. Did you want to write a check for that, or were you wanting to pay for that over time? Well, and then they can choose. If you're wanting to pay over time, we talked about doing a 15-year loan at the 3.49%. Your monthly payment's only going to be $103 a month. That'd be affordable? Great. All I need to do is verify that you, in fact, are on the deed or the title of the home, and that your credit score is at least a minimum of 650. There going to be any
I
issues
can
with
barely
that?
hear you now.
No. Okay, great. Do you Sorry, was there a question?
All of a sudden, can't hear you very well.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Can you guys hear me?
I can
get on my end.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to speak up. All right, so once you get at this point, the customer understands the numbers. They're going to go straight down here where it says tap to sign. You understand the numbers, the information I've presented to you? Yes, I do. So you're going to tap to sign, and it's going to show the customer's lovely mug, right? If the customer is not looking at the screen, they will not be able to sign. You see how the ready to sign button disappears? Because my eyeballs aren't being recognized. It has facial recognition technology. It will not allow the customer to sign if they're not looking at the device. When the customer does sign, it's actually going to take pictures so that we have access to see who actually signed that proposal. So if you're signing for your customer, you're probably going to get fired.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you're going to get fired. And then you hit submit, and then it'll send that proposal to the customer and to yourself. And at that point, you can enter into the actual, you can put the system into DocuSign, cost, all the information. You should have a copy of it as well. It's going to send it to your email. Should send it to your, oh, sorry. If you plug your email into where that email is, then it'll actually send you a copy of the proposal. But this is where you get the system design, the 5.6 kilowatts production over the course of the year, and you're going to plug that into Sunlight, Citon, DocuSign, and then once you go back to the proposal, you have the system cost, number of panels, and all that information. That is Legion. And at this point, let's go ahead and take any questions. Any questions from San Antonio first?
Yeah, I had a question.
Go ahead.
What if we can't see those obstructions on the roof? Like, what if the pitch of the roof is so high?
Okay, you're going to
So
be
it's
sitting
the
in the home
solar-
with the cut. Okay, the question was, what if you can't see the obstruction on the roof or the pitch is so high? If the roof is over a either 40 or 45 degree angle, it's actually going to be an adder. It's more expensive to install on those roofs. It's very uncommon to see a roof with that kind of a pitch. If you can't see it on the Google Map, then when you actually go to the customer's home, you're going to be redesigning and removing, maybe adding panels once you get there anyway, based on the usage. And so you're going to want to look at the obstructions once you get to the home. You'll do a full walk around with the customer as part of your sale.
Okay.
And so, in fact, you can point that out. You get there and you say, hey, I've already put together kind of a preliminary design. First things first, I need to step over to where I've designed the system and just make sure that there's no obstructions, no chimneys, no major shading. We want to make sure that we're designing this as accurately as possible. Would you mind stepping outside with me? And we'd also like to take a look at your electrical panel. And you're doing that just to get the customer more involved. Would you mind opening up that electrical panel? Let me take a look at the breaks. Okay, that looks good. Looks like you've got a couple of slots available. I'm no electrician, but from what I can tell, this looks pretty good. Up on the roof, looks like you have a chimney that might cast some shade. I may need to adjust the system side. Also, you have a heat vent, and you have some, I've heard them called fart cans, but I don't know if that's the technical term. I believe we can design over the fart cans, quote unquote. But the heat vents, the one that are T-tops, those are actually methane vents. And if you design over those, it could have drastic results for the people that live in the home. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Yes, and I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when you were working, putting the panels on the roof and adjusting for the offset, I didn't see the offset percentage, and it could just be because, you know, we're looking at this via Zoom, but I couldn't see that number adjusting.
Do you see it now? Right up here?
Down. Top right-hand corner.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that was your phone. Okay, I got it.
Well, my
I see
phone
it.
is at 100%.
Orange dot.
The system is designed to 96%.
I see it.
Cool.
Okay,
And that
thanks.
will only show up, and that's based on the usage that you plug in here. So initially, when I designed the system, we didn't have any of that information. The reason why is because we didn't have anything to base it off of. There was no percentage because we didn't have any usage data entered.
Okay.
Okay,
Got
does
it.
that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else?
It's safe to say that we could basically caveat the situation with the homeowner saying, hey, this is all preliminary. This is what I think that we could do on your house. But whenever a guy comes down about less than a week to get on top of your roof to do a site survey, things may change just a slight bit. But just to give you an idea, I feel like that we could give you a 96% offset with this proposal.
Yes, exactly. So this, and then that's how you're pitching it. Oh, sorry. The question was, he said, once you get to the site, can you use this essentially just to say, hey, it's a preliminary tool so that we can set up a site survey? So essentially what you're saying is, hey, I haven't gotten up on the roof. I'm not actually qualified to get up on your roof. If I do that, I'll get fired because the insurance doesn't cover me climbing even like step stools. So I have to stay planted on the ground. That being said, if your roof has any issues, if there's been any leaks or damage, you know, water issues, termites, things like that, pests that have gnawed at the wood and now it's not suitable for solar, your roof could potentially be disqualified. So right now we're designing it to 96%, but we're going to have what's called a site survey done. And he's going to come out and verify that the roof is actually structurally sound, that there's no issues, that we can actually mount solar up on top. That being said, how old is your roof? And have you noticed any leaks or damage? Just so that I can record my notes. And so that's actually a good pullback. Was that your question?
Yeah, that's how I was wanting to approach it, during my presentation. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We haven't gotten up there. We're going to need to verify that all of this is accurate. I'm usually pretty good about putting together these designs, but we're all human. And like I said, I don't get up on top of roofs. We're going to have to get somebody who that's within their wheelhouse.
Yep.
They should be able to notice the instructions.
I got a question.
Right. What other question? One more question from San Antonio.
All right.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
What about north side racking?
What did you say?
North side racking.
Okay, he's asking about mounting on the north side of the home. I don't recommend it. It's going to make the system quite a bit more expensive because the north side is the least efficient mounting plane. Does anybody know what the most efficient mounting plane is? South side. Okay, so the way it goes, south side is the most efficient, followed by the west side, followed by the east side, And then I actually do not mount on the north side of the roof if you're selling solar. It's going to be about 50% less efficient, if not more. And that's going to create a bad customer experience. Unless the customer knows that and realizes that they're only going to be generating, they're going to be paying essentially double for a system that's mounted on the north side, I do not recommend you mount on the north side on a purchase. And since we don't do leases or PPAs, just don't mount on the north side. North side, northwest, northeast, that's not efficient. All right, let's get a local question from Austin.
Before you did the financing, you said there was something that we can offer or not offer.
Okay, so the question is, before we did the financing, we can offer incentives, adders. There's things that we can adjust here. So you can add a Sam's Club gift card and an upfront rebate. Right now, it's not calculating correctly on the proposal. As you probably noticed, the proposal also doesn't show us a net cost. So that's something that I'm currently working on. Actually, I can show you. I don't know if you can see it in San Antonio, but these are my notes with Legion. This is the email that I sent them yesterday. So there's quite a few things that I've gone through and noticed that would make it much easier for us to be successful as solar pros.
So the instant rebate is something to offer or not offer? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So currently you can offer or not offer it. What I recommend is if you're going to offer it, tie it to referrals. Say, hey, if you're able to give me 3 referrals right now, we can actually give you a pretty sizable discount. It would come in the form of an upfront rebate. And that for you would be, and then you calculate 15 cents times 5.60, which, not 5.60, 5,600. 0.15 times 5,600. You can say, yeah, I can actually get you an additional $840 off. You probably know 3 or 4 friends that use electricity that own their homes, right? Great. Let's write their names down. I'm going to expect you to call them, let them know I'm going to reach out to them tomorrow. Is that something you can handle for $840? Sure. I mean, that would take care of 8 months of your electric bills.
That's just if they give you permission for.
You can use it however you want. I'm just using that as an example.
Good morning, Ms. Aguilar. This is Jason with Mint Solar.
Okay.
Just give me
Another question from Scott.
Good morning. You can give me a call back. That'd be great. Phone number is 210-601-4329.
They tell you how many panels you need, or do you have to put all the panels on the roof like you did when you filled it all out?
Okay, so the question is, do we have to go through the proposal like I just did where you built the system and then go back and delete them? If you have the utility bill up front and you have the usage, no, just design it based on the usage that you have.
But to that point, though, if you do not have a bill before you walk into the house because it's a last-minute appointment, if you've got some time to do the preliminary design like he's talking about and then completely cover that roof, then when you get in the home, all you have to do is just start subtracting panels when you start putting in the information for the utility bill, usage, and payment amount. And that way, at least you've got half of it done before you walk in. The hardest part really is that. So try and do that before you even walk in the home. Yeah.
But just to clarify, nobody in this room is authorized to present Legion proposals until you are certified by myself or John. Okay. What other questions do we have here from Austin?
You're doing the submission. You put a dummy email. You give them that proposal quite yet. So you just email that to yourself or just put it down the email.
Question is, when I built the proposal, I put in a dummy email address for the customer so that it wouldn't send it to the customer. Can you put in your email address? Yeah. Can you put in your girlfriend's or your wife's email address or your husband? Yeah, you can put whatever email address in there that you want. No matter what email address you put in, it's going to populate the proposal on your screen once that's submitted.
Okay.
Yeah. I typically would just put in a test email because I know it's going to pop up for me anyway. And then that way I can just review it with the customer right there and go over it. And that way we have control. And that's kind of the whole point of this is so we're not relying on somebody else, A, to design the system, and then B, to sign on the dotted line when we're not there, right? Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter because this proposal tool doesn't really go anywhere at this point. Version 2 or 3.0, once we're integrated with some other lenders, we'll be able to put that information in and that'll take us to like a credit application. So yeah, I just got a raised hand from Matador. in San Antonio?
Sorry, man. I just saw that button and I was just testing it out.
Quit messing with us, bro. Okay, what other questions from Austin? Alex?
I know that price.
There we raised my hand and he clicked the next question. Yeah, it's like the button did.
After the 17th payment.
Right.
We can find this out later.
So Alex is asking about the actual finance breakdown. The first 17 months of payment is going to be 103, and then after that it'll probably bump up to 150. That's not notated on the proposal. That's something, again, that I'm working with Legion on to get the proposal correct. I want them to take out the amortization schedule, and I want them to add in some of the actual financing numbers so that we can explain that so the customer's expectations are acceptable.
So right now it's too cluttered.
It's a work in progress, ladies and gentlemen. I am well aware, but here's the thing. Going forward, your assignment, I want you all to work on, put in 5 customer names, put in 5 leads, appointments, plug them in. Once you generate them at the kiosk, you're going to do everything the same way. But when you're done with your shift, start practicing this. And any questions you have, I want you to shoot me an email. That way we can get everything out there. If there are actual glitches, issues with the system, then you can message me and get that taken care of. Okay? What other questions do we have?
On the cash price, is that a discount?
If you want to offer, the question was on a cash price, is there a discount? The answer is yeah, you're able to provide that if you want. It's up to 8%. No, it doesn't automatically calculate it. So you would have to actually calculate 385 minus 8%. And then if you wanted to give them the full discount, then, that would you would get the same commission. But if you gave them like a 4% discount, Mint will actually split that with you. So you get an extra 2% boost in your commission rate versus, not giving the full 8% versus giving them the full 8%.
Can you change it on the proposal then?
Yeah, you can change it from 385 to whatever. You're not authorized to reduce the system cost unless you're doing a cash deal, and that is only up to 8%. Okay?
On exception basis.
Unless you have an exception from right now it's BJ. Another question from Austin?
Well, other than for adders, I was thinking about like headed to your ground now. For whatever reason that changed throughout the month. So
Yeah.
ground, it's like 40 cents.
So the question was if there was an adder like a ground mount.
And you didn't
I'm going to plug.
include it in the original quote. And you kind of just screwed yourself out of your commission.
Yeah, if you don't include a ground mount in the adder and it ends up needing to have an adder, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit out of your commission. So I'm going to add that all in. Yeah, on the proposal. I'm going to add that all in.
Are we going to have to list all the adders?
Yeah, they'll all be in this section right here where it says adders.
Or could we get like cost to kind of offset a little bit?
That's something we just have to work it out with BJ. That would be one of those exceptions. What other questions on Legion do we have from San Antonio?
Does the map automatically face the house to the south or west?
Yes. So the map automatically populates north-south. So it's automatically oriented towards north, and you cannot adjust that. Even when you're putting the graph on, you can't adjust it. You actually, it's always going to be oriented north-south. So the top of the screen will be north. What else? We got a question in Austin. Hang on.
So to clarify, when we do something like we're not going into incentives, we're just going to adjust the cost per watt, right?
So the question is, if we're doing a cash discount, would we do incentives or would we just manually adjust the cost per watt? The answer is we would just manually adjust the cost per watt. There's not an incentive for a cash deal because you can change it however you want, essentially up to 8%. Are there any other questions from San Antonio?
Yeah, so the only thing that adding, like the proposal you just did, is the federal tax rebate.
Was that added in?
So, sorry, restate the question.
So the only thing when you did your proposal just then was the federal tax rebate.
Okay, so first, the question is, the only thing that wasn't added in the proposal was the federal tax rebate. It's not a rebate. You have to be very clear with this. It's a credit. So yeah, that's correct. And that would just affect the ultimate net cost. The customer is still going to be financing that same amount. That credit will come back based on the customer's liability. John will do another training on tax liability or tax credits. But yeah, currently it's not showing up. That's something that will be changed here, hopefully within the next couple days.
It actually does show on
It shows on the amortization schedule, but you don't want to show that to your customer because it'll confuse them out of wanting to buy solar from you. Almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
What else from San Antonio? I'm going to cut you guys loose.
Last question. In the financing, if we need to do, I know in a couple of days somebody did it, the wrap up with the mortgage. Is that going to be included in this, or do we still have to do it by phone and call in to see if we can wrap it up by mortgage?
Right now, I would just
restate the question.
The question is, as far as the refinance option that the customer has, I am right now. I'm putting together a complete summary sheet for you guys as a team, Austin, San Antonio, for the entire market, so that we can understand better our options for financing. So I'm going to have some training coming up with that, but you should have some literature available to you probably no later than Monday, giving you details about rates, FICO score requirements. All that stuff is coming to you very shortly. And then we are going to host a training class for financing so you guys can ask additional questions and feel really comfortable about what you're offering. So there's more to come on that. It's a good question.
Is that it, San Antonio? Awesome. I'm going to send this training out as well as the other training. I want you guys, your assignment is to review it. I want you to work on poking through Legion. There is a test. There's a test area that you're going to be added to. John's going to be doing that for us. Yeah. Once you're added, you should get an email. Go ahead and play around in there. But just know that it's called test, but the email sending tool doesn't know that it's a test. That's just the name. So if you actually put in an email, it's going to send emails out. Which would be good if you send the emails to yourself. But don't send those emails to any customers or anybody outside. I mean, send them to your manager, send them to yourself. We just want to make sure that you know that it's live, even though it's called test. But that way you can go in and put panels on different roofs. You can generate leads and appointments that way, and you get some experience as far as that goes. And then what I want you to do, again, is write down any questions that you have. Shoot me an email, CC John on it. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that we get all of those answered. If there's any issues with the software, we'll get those corrected. But we'd like to have this done, taken care of, rolled out, so that we can all be able to use it within a week.
Isn't there a backup, or is it just me, or are you guys getting backup on proposals from corporate?
Currently, we're still using the proposal program, so you're sending out utility bills to the design team. That doesn't change until we say we're fully live with Legion.
What I'm saying is, if anyone else experiencing backup, or you're not getting, so I have an appointment today, and I'm not to use this tool for that, so I need to reschedule.
Let me go ahead and, hey, San Antonio, I'm going to cut you guys loose. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Thanks for jumping in. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you.